Hello and welcome to PSGL round 2. It's going to be a super exciting race, my home race in fact. So, I'm going to need a good result here, need good race pace. I'm setting up the car specifically to go fast in the race because of the long straights here, ability to make the difference on the strategy as well with possible undercuts. But a rare occasion here is to make the overcut work, and it's quite possible. If you save a bit of battery, then you can go longer and deploy that battery in that short amount of time to gain the advantage. But anyway, let's get into qualifying. I'm going to jump into my rig. I'm going to speak to you right there. As you can see now, halfway through my final lap in Q1, currently P20, haven't got a lap on the board. That's mainly just because I've been trying to save tyres throughout the session, because I know his size could become critical later in the race or even later in the qualifying session. See, through Max and Beckett's pick up a little bit of understeer. Q1 obviously has the lowest grip throughout all the qualifying session. Of course, Q2 and Q3 will build up the grip as we go. But I did put more focus towards the setup for the race. You can pick up a bit of understeer here, but not so good in qualifying. But in the race, it will help to manage the rear tyres a lot more and be able to get much more consistency out of the car as well. Running pretty good wings here, considering the race situation, but again, not so good for the qualifying. And PSGL park FOMO conditions are turned on, so you can't change that much of the setup between qualifying and race. And you see, final lap in Q2 coming up to the line. Currently P4 on the grid at the moment. Of course, temporary, of course, everyone's still got to do their final lap in Q2, so it's going to shuffle around. Right now, a 0.8 would probably not be good enough to get me through to Q3, so I've got to find time, but the grip is quite difficult to find. You see twitching around. I didn't really find that much confidence for the car for the qualifying setup anyway, but like I say, the race setup was feeling phenomenal, and you'll see later on in the video our race pace was looking sublime. But coming up to the end of the first sector split, and midpoint 1 is pretty good. You see, hooking up a really nice apex there, getting the weight transition beautifully. I love the sequence of corners here, up into Luffield, get the traction on the exit, right up against the white line. Couldn't really have done much more there. Shorten the distance, coming up to Copse Corner, of course famous from the 2021 F1 season, the real life. Very notable incident between two drivers going on there. But coming up to Max and Beck, it's critical to get this right. Flick it down to 7th. Other people taking that 8th gear and taking it down to 6th gear, then 5th gear for the final part. But I was preferring to go down 1 gear per corner. For me, was giving a much better balance for the car. I see a midpoint 3 through the second set split, and that was pretty good again. So I knew I didn't need to take too many risks in this final section. Picking up a bit of understeer, almost running off the track there, moving the brake bars forward by 1% just to get a bit better balance into the final sequence of corners. See now picking up the traction with pretty good traction, and we're squirming around a little bit, but up to the line. That puts me P4 and should be comfortably through. You see P6 only a 10th away from Nicholas Longe, who's gone fastest on a 0.6, but these times are going to tumble massively into the final part of qualifying. See Daniel Bresnay just about squeezing through again, but now the final lap of Q3. The pressure's on. P8 at the moment, of course, that's all just worn tyres. 0.9 I've done on the board, so even slower than that lap I did in Q2 so far. But again, like I said, the tyres are very worn for that first lap, so nothing really comparable. Through turn 1, keep it in 7th at the moment. Then braking down to 3rd gear, hiccup the apex to avoid the sort of curb on the inside, up to 4th gear. Then I go keep it in 4th gear, throw out the left hand, a little lock up on the front left, but didn't really hinder me. And you see squirming all the way to get on the power, but that was a pretty good corner 3 and 4. But would have done with a little bit less wheel spin, but it's already done. Nothing much I can do about it now. You can see a midpoint 5 again, purple sector 1, down to 4th gear, get the rotation in, up to 5th gear, down to 3rd gear again, now up to 5th gear, short shift, get the traction down. You see really nice exit right up against the white line again, the car squirming around, tendency of qualifying. See that I'm losing a bit of rear traction in those situations, getting back on the power, flat out, easily flat. Have to make sure not to touch the inside curb too aggressively, otherwise can make oversteer and overheat the tyres. You see almost 2 temps up already. Down to 7th gear, flick it left in 6th, down to 5th gear for the final part. Short shift to 6th again if you need to. See picking up a beautiful exit, couldn't have done much more. See a low point 3 in the second sector split as well. Getting ready to move my brake bars forward. Up to Stowe, down to 5th gear if you need it. But no, actually keep it in 6th gear, so that was a pretty sweet corner. Go down to 5th, you need that little bit of extra rotation. 51% brake bias again, coming up the final sequence corner. You see hooking up the apex there, hooking up the apex again nicely, and it's been a pretty sweet lap. Not really any mistakes in the lap, so it shows that we did get pretty much the maximum out of the setup that we was running in qualifying. P6 on the grid. You see, actually 2.5 tenths off pole, what was Nicholas Longue. But as you can see, I think there was a lot of qualifying versus race setups going on here, because Nicholas did an amazing lap to take pole by almost a tenth. So you see, 6% and 5% tyre wear, but I'm just talking you through a little bit of the strategy in the race going on here, because later in the race it was forecast to rain. In fact, in the final 5 minutes of the race it was forecast to rain, and sometimes you don't really know. You can see you've got a bit of black clouds on the top right of the screen there as we're coming through, so it's going to be very difficult. I think a lot of people are going to go for undercuts to try and get track position early on, but of course it might rain, but it just might not be heavy enough for rain. Silverstone, you don't actually need to box that early, because a lot of it is a lot of straights here in Silverstone. So of course in real life you have aquaplaning and quite a big risk to run the soft tyres or the slick compound tyres in the rain, but on the game you don't really have that much risk. But anyway, I'll talk about that later, because we're on the grid and we're going to be lights out P6. You get a really amazing start, minimised wheel spin, absolutely beautiful, but we have to back out the throttle a little bit, tuck into the slipstream. Jarno Opmeer ahead, you see Daniel Haddad, we're getting super close. We're going to pick to the outside line, deep on the brakes, and we'll try and sneak it round the outside of Daniel. We've got Jarno ahead of us, what means we can't push too hard on the throttle. Now down the inside for turn 4, side by side on the exit, keep the traction here alive. But you see Daniel just turns it on us like we're not there, and we have to cut the curb, and we do actually get a bit of front wing damage from that. So that was a bit cheeky, a bit debatable from Haddad whether he saw us or not. But I did check his stream and he did see us there, trying to go round the outside, trying to make something happen. But you see, we back out of it. We know nothing's going to happen there. But we do get a virtual safety car, because the car retired. I think it was Davio retired off the start-finish line for, I'm not too sure what reason. You see, going very slowly, but skipping forward to lap 6. We don't need to worry about all that boring stuff. We can stay right in tune with the action. Lap 6 ahead. See, following everyone in the DRS chain. We've got basically 70-80% of the battery getting super close. You can see, this is what I was talking about. Our race setup is phenomenal. Look how close we're able to follow. Daniel Haddad makes a small mistake on the inside curve. You're underneath a tenth of the car ahead. This is going to be amazing slipstreaming in the DRS. See, he tries to go to the inside, break the slipstream, but I'm going to follow him, dummy him to the outside, and dive down the inside as late on the brakes as possible. Try not to hit Cowton. We get oversteer as we touch the inside curb, and I realised that was my mistake. So you see, we pull over to the left-hand side and give Daniel the space to rejoin the track. You see, wheel bang on the exit, and all the way up the Cops. Is this going to be a repeat of Max and Lewis? Is it going to be a repeat? Am I going to send it around the outside? But I think better of it and tuck back into the slipstream. And I think it's not really worth on the lap 6 to try and send it around the outside of Cop's corner, knowing what can happen there, and I could end my race in the barrier or have front wing damage. But he's sliding around a little bit in the dirty air. You have a limited amount of time in the dirty air before your tyres overheat. But you see, lap 7, everyone decided to box. I was originally planning to box on this lap, but seeing everyone else go ahead, I thought there was no point. In these situations, it's better to do your own strategy than follow the whole train. You see, coming into pit lane. Now lap 9, because we've gone across the start-finish line, but we did actually box at lap 8, end of lap 8 that is. The medium tyres release the clutch as fast as possible when the green light goes. But you can see, rejoining onto lap 10, I follow in the slipstream of Haddad. We're down in P12 at the moment, because there's a lot of people who start on the medium tyres outside the top 10, of course, anticipating the rain to come. So, albeit we're in P12, this is actually the fight for about P5 provision. You see, Daniel Haddad breaking super early as Val Cowton and Jarno Opmeer are fighting up ahead. You see, we're going to look for a really amazing exit. Cowton makes a small mistake on the exit, and Daniel Haddad is following super close. You see, this is where we can be tactical. This is where we can use our racecraft to our advantage through turn 1. Hang back a little bit, and we're going to try close in on the brakes. You don't want to be too close, otherwise you can get stuck up behind. See, release the brake. We're going to get super early on the back, sneak it up the inside of Daniel Haddad. See, late on the brakes, and that is a superb move. See, a little bit of contact in the middle, what forced me a little bit wide, but as we're going to see a bit of replay there, I did in fact leave Daniel Haddad the space on the exit, and it was in fact him what drove himself off the track. You can see now from the third person camera up the inside, get the car rotated, and you can see that's where the contact was in the middle. You see, gave me a little bit of oversteer I mean, but you see Haddad just drives himself off the circuit. So for me, that was for him, that was his responsibility. You see now on the back of Jarno Opmeer. I didn't actually know this at the time, but apparently Jarno Opmeer had a bit of front wing damage as well from an early incident, I think, with Nicholas Longue. But you can see we've got a lot of battery left. We've got like 60%, and Jarno Opmeer is flashing on the battery, and we can see Barry Bondman and Navarro sort of disappearing into the distance up the road, and I had to nail Jarno straight away because I was assuming that he had a full front wing. I was assuming that he didn't have any damage, so I had to nail him straight away to be able to ensure that he didn't charge up his battery, because if he was able to charge his battery a little bit, he would be able to defend. You can see we're pushing our battery all the way down the straight and barely closing on him, but it's through Cop's corner. We get an amazing run, you see, right in the slipstream of him. And we're going to go to the outside and dip to the inside. We're fully side by side. We go down the inside. There's a little bit of contact between me and Jarno. But that's just two racing drivers absolutely going for it. That's what you want to see, in my opinion. Two drivers absolutely sending it. See a bit of a replay here. You can see Jarno did leave me enough space on the apex, but it was, of course, very tight. And you can see just about making it happen. I got a bit of oversteer on the curb, and that's really what happened to push me into Jarno there. But you know, for sure it was a risky move to go up the inside. You know, could have waited, could have had a bit of a different strategy there. But I want to go for it, you know. I want to make these overtakes. I want to absolutely send it. And, you know, these things happen in racing. But I'm happy that it happened. I got a bit of front wing damage from that crash as well, or incident. What means I dropped 2.5 seconds off the back of Caraton. You see, we let Daniel Haddad go back in front of us because I think he doesn't have any damage. And I can sit in his slipstream, even with losing about 8 tenths per lap with the damage. I can sit in the slipstream and stay there even with the damage, like I say, save a bit of battery and try hook onto the back of the podium, possibly fighting later in the race. But you see, lap 19, the safety car did come out in the race. And you can see the debate now was the box. And you see a lot of people staying out on their worn medium tyres. But like I say, the rain was coming as Simon Weigang hit the back of Jarno there. But the rain was due to come, but we didn't know when. It was actually due to already come now, because on the pre-screen it was meant to be 2 boxes of rain, what was meant to be around lap 18, lap 19, and the rain wasn't already coming. So I decided to not change the front wing, but I did increase the angle of the front wing all the way up to 11, so saving myself about 5 seconds in the pit box rather than doing that. You see Clariton on softs, me on softs, Lucas Longue on softs as well, but Shinata Clay came out on the intermediate tyres as well as Jarno Otmir. You can see this is the outlap. Sorry for the small cut there, but I had some issues recording it, so I had to use the replay camera. It was a bit glitchy, but you can see now dripping with rain a little bit on lap 20 as we come out the pit box, but you can see the grip is still 100% there. You can see going through Brooklands into Luffield, a little bit of understeer, but that's literally just because I didn't want to push too hard the tyres on the outlap. But you can see the grip is 100% there. It's a very nice situation right now, but skipping all the way to lap 22, only 2 laps later. And look at the track. It's completely flooded, basically. Wet patches everywhere. But we're desperate to try and make the strategy work, because if we box now, we're definitely going to be outside the points. But if we hang on to these tyres, we can maybe scrape a few points. And you never know. Sometimes in the game, even in these conditions, the dry tyre can sometimes be quicker than the wet. So you can see right on the back of Ruben trying to squeeze up the inside, but nothing to happen there. So we're going to back out. But even with that front wing changed up to 11, we're still picking up a bit of understeer there. But these conditions are so treacherous. Trying to go to the outside, diving, trying to go there. But you can see, give us a little squeeze. But that was completely fair from Ruben. I would do the same thing in that situation. So good racing, good hard racing. That's the racing I kind of like. You see now, visibly spray is coming off the tyres, and this is really when the inters become fast. You can see Shinaka Clay is still behind us. We actually dropped him a little bit in the first few corners, but under traction he gained it back. See, we're going to the outside because I know Shinaka Clay is going to dive up the inside, but we're going to able to have enough grip. I was surprised that we had enough grip to hang around the outside, but now Shinaka Clay going all the way clean around the outside, and Jarno Otmir is going to slot up by inside there. And I was actually looking at Jarno in the mirror trying to make sure I didn't hit him, and in the process I hit Shinaka Clay and damaged my front wing even more. So I think I've got about $500,000 or pounds to pay in front wing fees for this race. You can see pick up a lot of oversteer on the exit. These conditions are so slippery right now. Only a few laps to go, P8, but there's still a lot of people on the soft compound tyres or the dry tyres around us. You see Daniel Bresney fighting with Jarno Otmir. You see as well Wilson Hughes, upcoming F1 esports driver, possibly. I think he's racing in Challenge at the moment, so go show him some love, go show him some support on social media, because I think he's a nice guy, and like I say, he's on the way to F1 esports quite possibly. But now, the first time properly for a high-speed corner with that front wing damage, and you can see a lot of understeer there. See, we're going all the way to the outside, because I know this isn't my fight anymore. I don't actually want to get in the way of these drivers. But see, we get hit. That was actually, I think, Haddad who hit us from behind as well. and pushing us into the Red Bull, what's causing even more front wing damage. Yeah, I just didn't see the Haas on the inside as well. It's all a bit chaos, so Lewis Welch didn't really do anything wrong in that situation. He was just up the inside. You see, up the inside, side by side, they're both running off the track, and then Daniel Haddad decides to rage quit the session. Yeah, just rage quit. I don't know why. Only 2 laps to go. Doesn't change much to finish it. But anyway, now in P13, but we still have Daniel Bresnay, and I think By Boyman and as well Ruben. But coming out in this corner, you see Ruben actually spins to the inside. So that's 1 free position. And Simon Weigang is behind us on the soft compound tyres as well. So everyone behind us is on the soft compound tyres. Lap 25. And we're looking to go up the inside of our teammate Daniel Bresnay. And see how slippery it is. I dived up the inside, but it looks like we're trying to take like a roundabout with a bus. That's how slow we're going. But you see By Boyman as well, 1.5 seconds up the road. But right now, with the track getting slippier and slippier, you can see wheel spin almost in 6th gear, and we're going to ride on board for the final lap. But with the track getting more slippy, you can see the understeer that I have for this front wing damage. You see being pushed off the track. 1.4 seconds to Daniel Bresnay right now, and you can see just locking up the front right. We're hitting our apexes quite well, to be honest. Our turning points are pretty good, but we're just understeering all the way to the outside of the track, and there's not really anything we can do sliding about. But it was really a shame that we had this situation with the rain, because if the safety car came in 1 lap earlier, or the rain came 1 lap later, or any situation like that, then to be honest, the dry tyres would have been not that bad, because the 1 or 2 laps that the intermediates would have had to do on the dry track would have destroyed them. And you can see the intermediates are about half a lap ahead right now of the soft compound tyres. They're coming through the final sequence of corners to finish the race. But that would have meant that 1 or 2 laps with the intermediates on the dry track would have destroyed the tyre, and they would have been about half a lap behind us. So it would have been so close at the end. But that's racing, you know, and, you know, strategies can differ. Maybe next time it goes my way. But right now we're looking to be outside the points. We did pick up a 5-second penalty. That was just because we had a little bit of contact with Nicolas Longuet under the safety car. I think it was just a lag bubble or something. So nothing deliberate from me or Nicolas. So it will get removed in the post results. But you can see for the final sequence of corners, I'm actually trying to hang on to this position from Daniel Bresnay, but so much understeer. He's going to get out the inside. There's going to be a bit of contact there just because I picked up a bit of wheel spin. I didn't actually mean to make contact there, but deep on the brakes, locking up the front left with, of course, the lack of downforce. Now going for the right-hander. Daniel Bresnay goes around by the outside. And okay, it's out the points, but of course we want to beat each other, drifting as well all the way up to the start-finish line. And that made for an awesome photo that I uploaded to my social media. But was a race of good pace, to be honest. We was running in the possible podium positions for a lot of it, but shamefully the result went away from us because of the strategy. But like I say, that's racing. These things happen, and it's going to be Monaco coming up next. But anyway, I'm going to pass back over to Brendon on the desk. So you can see so much pace, so much potential, but we wasn't quite able to get the strategy right to maximise on that pace and potential. It's all areas of racing. You need to be fast, you need to be on the strategy to be able to get the good results. And we was fast, but we wasn't quite right on the strategy today. But this is all lessons to learn from going ahead in this championship as well for the 2022 F1 esports season. That's the main reason I'm doing this championship, is one, to have a bit of fun, make a bit of content, but also to analyse my weaknesses and maximise them into my strengths into the esports season. But just before we talk about Monaco coming up on Wednesday night, 7 PM live on my Twitch channel, I want to talk a little bit about Luke Smith. I want to give him a big thank you and a big shout out. His link to his Twitter will be in the description of the video, because he gave me the replay file, the ability to make this video, because I made the mistake. I forgot to save the replay file in game, what meant I had no footage of the race, but he very kindly gave me his replay file so I can make this footage. So big shout out to him. Go give him some follow, give him some love. I think he might be an upcoming F1 esports driver in the future. He certainly seems quick enough at the moment anyway. But talk about Monaco, of course, everyone knows Monaco, super tight, super twisty. Qualifying is going to be critical. Possible undercuts and overcuts, different strategies. High risk of a safety car. It's going to be an enthralling race, very difficult to maximise, even to make it through the race cleanly. Is going to be a challenge to not scrape a barrier. But I'm going to leave a link to my Twitch in the description. so you can go and check it out if you want to be joining me live. Like I say, Wednesday night, 7 p.m, I'll be showing my live onboard for the race. So I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to start practice for Monaco just as I finish this now. I'm going to see you on my Twitch channel. For now, glad to you as actually. Ciao, ciao.